Languages shape how we think, but here's something wild. Korean grammar is actually more like playing with Legos than speaking English. And that simple insight is revolutionizing how we teach languages.
That's such an intriguing comparison. What made you connect children's toys with language learning?
Well, I was working with someone learning Korean, and they showed me this sentence that technically had all the right words, but was completely wrong. That's when it hit me. English speakers are trying to line up pre-made pieces, but Korean is more like building something from scratch with tiny Lego bricks.
So you're saying the fundamental structure of these languages is totally different?
Exactly. In English, we're using what linguists call an analytic language. Imagine placing complete Lego figures in a row. But Korean is agglutinative, literally meaning gluing language, where you stack meaning blocks together to create complex words.
Could you give us a concrete example of how this works in practice?
Take the Korean verb 가다, meaning to go. You start with that basic brick. Then add 시 for honorific speech, 어 for past tense, get for probability, and 습니다 for formality. Suddenly you've built 가셨겠습니다, one word expressing what would take an entire English sentence.
That's fascinating. So what happens when English speakers try to apply their language logic to Korean?
Well, according to research from Seoul National University, about 35% of grammar errors by English-speaking beginners come from this exact misunderstanding. They're trying to use Korean words like English building blocks, and it just doesn't work.
You know, this reminds me of how children learn differently from adults. They're often more willing to play with language without preconceptions.
That's a brilliant observation. A grad student I spoke with, Sarah, described her breakthrough moment exactly like that. She said once she stopped thinking about Korean grammar rules and started thinking like she was playing with transforming robots. Everything clicked.
So how do you actually practice this building block approach?
Let's take another verb, 먹다, meaning to eat.
We can transform it step by step, adding honorific markers, tense, probability,
until we get something like 먹으셨겠습니까?
which packs an entire English sentence worth of meaning into one word.
Well, that certainly changes how we should approach language learning. What's the best way to start?
The key is starting small. Pick one verb each day and practice building it up gradually. Start with simple present tense, then add past tense, then future. It's like learning Lego building techniques before trying to construct the Death Star.
That makes so much more sense than trying to memorize endless vocabulary lists. What other insights have you found about this approach?
Here's something fascinating. This building block system is actually more logical and regular than English. Once you understand the basic patterns, you can apply them to almost any verb, unlike English's irregular verbs that you just have to memorize.
So, in a way, Korean might actually be more systematic than English?
Exactly right. And here's what's really exciting. Research shows that once learners grasp this Lego block concept, their progress accelerates dramatically. They stop trying to translate word for word and start thinking in terms of building meaning.
This whole conversation has completely changed how I think about language structure. Any final thoughts for people interested in learning Korean?
Remember that learning Korean isn't about memorizing new words. It's about understanding a new way of building meaning. Embrace the Lego mindset, and suddenly, those complex Korean words start making perfect sense. And the best part? Once you get it, you'll start seeing these patterns everywhere in the language.